That evil state called Nigeria has collapsed. It is in shambles. It is in the process of being dismantled. What you are looking at, which actually still looks like a country, is a shell, the heap of hair and bones left behind after a dead animal has decayed and rotted away. That is the Nigeria that you are looking at today. Do you want evidence that Nigeria is a failed state? Okay, here it is. Breakdown of law and order. If you have been to Nigeria recently or done business in Nigeria, you do not need anyone to tell you that Nigeria is a country in the firm grip of anarchy. The state has ceased to provide the most fundamental responsibility of any modern state, which is the guarantee of law and order and the protection of its citizens. In Nigeria, individuals are now totally responsible for their own safety and protection. Nigerian citizens are at the mercy of the Nigerian army, police, customs, fundamentalist Islamic police called Hisbah, who kill these citizens with impunity, rape women with flourish, often in the open markets, in police barracks and in army camps. The Nigerian police and army set up roadblocks on the highways and waterways and demand bribe from motorists and boaters. Citizens are shot with reckless abandon for failing to give enough bribe money or for not having enough money on them when the soldiers and police demand it. Bands of the Nigerian army and police routinely go into towns and villages, kidnap women of their choice, load them into army trucks at gunpoint, take them to their barracks, and gang rape them for days on end. No questions asked. Total breakdown of social services. One of the responsibilities of any functional modern state is the provision of social services for its citizens. Such services include electricity, water, good road, rail, and air transportation. So, what is left in social services? Nothing. It's all gone. The state has completely abdicated its responsibility. Nigeria is a non-functional state. Health services and educational services. One of the most disturbing aspects of the collapse of the Nigerian state is the state of health and educational services. Some of the most qualified and sophisticated doctors in European and American hospitals today are of Nigerian ancestry, and especially from Eastern Region Biafra. In fact, in some hospitals in the United States, you can afford to speak only Igbo language because most of the doctors and nurses are of Igbo ancestry. However, many of the hospitals in Nigeria today are manned by doctors who have only smattering knowledge, if at all, of medicine. Often, this is due to no fault of the doctors whose parents bought their admission into medical school and paid the professors for grades. The result is that hundreds of patients are literally murdered every day by these unqualified doctors. Many of these hospitals do not have electricity or pipe-borne water. We leave you to your own imagination the state or the sanitary condition of such hospitals. The education system in Nigeria has completely collapsed. Nigerians who want their children to have good university education now send them to Ghana. In fact, in the past few years, the situation has become so dire that parents now send their children, young children, to Ghana, Botswana, or South Africa to attend high school or secondary school. It will be a waste of time to talk about corruption in Nigeria. The alternative name for corruption is Nigeria. From the president of Nigeria to governors, ministers, judges, senators, members of the House of Representatives, assemblymen, and everyone in public office, all are steeped so deep in corruption that no human being can dig them out of the putrefaction and the muck. The situation is so bad that Nigeria has been declared, quote, most corrupt country in the world, end quote, more than twice by Transparency International. What an honor. Most corrupt country in the whole world. National identity. There is really no national identity for Nigerians. Nigeria is whatever any section of the country decides to make of it. Fundamentalist Islamic Sharia Council has now established an autonomous Sharia government in 12 of the 19 states in northern Nigeria. There, Jamaatul Nasri Islam operates a different constitution, different judiciary, different military and police force than what obtains in other parts of Nigeria. Elected officials in the Islamic State of northern Nigeria have been placed under the effective control of feudal Islamic mullahs and emirs, who have the authority to overrule their decisions. Judicial court decisions handed down by judges and magistrates operating in the regular courts in the Islamic State of northern Nigeria are summarily dismissed, ignored, disobeyed, and overruled, and cast aside like trash by Sharia court judges and law enforcement agents have been made to treat such judicial decisions as inconsequential and of no value. The Nigeria police and army are effectively under the control of the Islamic fundamental Sharia police called Hisbah, and take their orders from Hisbah and not from any officers of the Nigerian police, who are derisively called, quote, infidels, end quote, if they are Christians. The Sharia police force the Nigerian police and the courts to endorse Sharia laws on all citizens of the Islamic State of northern Nigeria, whether these citizens are Muslims or Christians. The Islamic State of northern Nigeria is now a sovereign independent state within Nigeria, and whose only relationship with Nigeria is that Nigeria must funnel billions of naira every month to it for the upkeep of the autonomous independent fundamentalist Islamic State. Strangely enough, that money is stolen from the Christian people of the Eastern region Biafra, and especially the people of the Niger Delta, by the Hausa Fulani Yoruba oligarchs and the Sokoto Caliphate.